ESPNpensacola1330.com to reserve your appointment today.
Fantasy football.
We welcome you back. I mentioned before Andrea came on that Ross Dellinger of Sports Illustrated was reporting that one conclusion came at the end of the AD's meeting today with the SEC, that they were leaning toward playing a conference-only schedule. Where that leaves the non-conference is anyone's guess. But as soon as that story came out, Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, issued a statement saying it is not appropriate to respond to anonymous sources and speculation. We continue our discussions focused on the return of fall sports, including football. We will announce any decisions at the appropriate time. Let's get back to the calls at 855-242-7285. And there we go. David is up next. Hello, David. Good afternoon.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing today?
David, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Thank you. It's always an honor to talk to the best sports talk radio host in the world.
Well, thanks.
I appreciate my call. I just got a couple of things. First, the young man that's going back that's going to have said he had a daughter, and he said coming in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Terry Wilson.
Yes, I hope that young man uses wisdom. I've got a brand-new granddaughter that I haven't seen for a month because her pediatrician told my son and his wife not to let anybody come for, 30, 45 days. So, but, back when all of this started back in March, I kidded around with my family, and I said, if we don't have football, y'all are going to have to put me in the mental institution. But
I'm already there, by the way.
As we've got into this thing, I don't see any way going forward that for safety's sake, especially if there's students on campus. You've been on that quad on Saturdays on game day and on campus in Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
And with all the parties and the tailgating, they may not be letting a lot of people in the stands, but, I think it's still creating an unsafe environment. And I wanted to talk with the players opting out. I wanted to ask you a question, make a comment and ask a question. I'm actually a high school official in Alabama, and our athletic association came out with the announcement last week that we were going to start the season on time. We've got 2 school districts that have already said they're canceling every sport for the rest of the year, and we've had some more schools come out and say that they were going to delay the season for a couple of weeks. As far as high school goes, not having the financial thing, not having the financial capabilities of college and NFL to do the proper quarantining and testing and all those things, I just don't see how in the world it can be safe to have a season. And my question that I wanted to ask you associated with that, how do you see that for seniors if we don't have high school seasons? How do you see that affecting recruiting and also the college players that are opting to sit out this season? How do you see that affecting their draft stock?
Yeah, David, let me jump in here. I think some high school players are going to really get hurt, and you know it because you're part of that sport. Those who need that big year to get a scholarship, I feel terribly for them if they don't get to play. I think you'll see a few more. I don't think it will be rampant, but I think some of the better players right now are talking to their parents and their advisors about what's the point. We have to take a break here. Another hour to go.
Shopping should be fun, but that's tough when you're worried about credit. At Aaron's, we make it quick and easy. Before you go, head to apply.aarons.com to discover your leasing power. You'll immediately know how much you're approved to lease to own. Just apply from your phone or computer, then visit your local Aaron's to shop top brands like Samsung and GE with the confidence of knowing you're already approved. Aaron's, easy, beautiful, affordable. Approval is valid only at assigned store location. Not all stores participating. Approval is not guaranteed. Some restrictions apply.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right?
Of course, making sure you have no holes in your defense.
Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless, and you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G.
And no contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. Check out terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
For your Gulf Coast Sports Minute, I'm JP. The Gulf South Conference will delay the start of intercollegiate competition in the fall semester to either the last week of September or the first week of October. Administrators from across the league will jointly work on a schedule that fits the timeline for competition in an effort to provide a meaningful fall competition season for conference members. To accommodate this new schedule, soccer, volleyball, and football will exclusively play against conference opponents. New schedules and additional details on the implementation of the delayed fall season will be distributed by the conference as they are approved by the membership. On the bright side, UWF is planning to play in the fall. In our recruiting spotlight this week, Wayman Jordan for the Catholic Crusaders. Jordan is clearly one of the best backs in the country for the 2022 cycle after rushing for over 1,500 yards and 16 touchdowns while averaging 8.7 yards per rush during his second season of prep ball. With interest already from Florida State, Alabama, Georgia Tech, West Virginia, Clemson, Tennessee, Buffalo, and USF, I'd say Wayman is a young man to look out for on Friday nights. That's your Gulf Coast Sports Minute. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Captain Eric Lawrence was training Afghan soldiers when his truck was hit by an IED.
I was on the way from Kandahar to Kalat, hit an IED that just took the truck and threw it up in the air and slammed it on the ground. I knew at first that I got hurt pretty bad because I couldn't move my legs. I sat home alone for months. I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to go back to work. I was hesitant at first, because I didn't work for a good year. I want to be a productive person. I don't want to be a drain on society. I want to be a positive thing in society. PVA helped me write my resume, got me a job interview. I got the job.
Helping veterans like Eric is what we've done for over 65 years. Paralyzed Veterans of America, paving access for veterans' employment through Operation PAVE. For more information, visit pva.org. A public service message from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
For This Week in Sports History, I'm JP. In 1983, Gaylord Perry joins Nolan Ryan and Steve Carlton to reach 3,500 career strikeouts. He also wins his first game as a Royal. In 1989, Braves' Dale Murphy hits 2 3-run home runs in an inning. 14th man to hit 2 home runs in an inning, also ties the record of 6 RBIs in an inning. In 1991, U.S. Senior Open Men's Golf Oakland Hills Country Club, Jack Nicklaus matches course record of 65 to beat Chi Rodriguez by 4 strokes in an 18-hole Monday playoff. In 1993, Detroit Tiger and Pensacola native Travis Fryman hits for the cycle but loses 12-7 to the Yankees. In 1997, A's first baseman Mark McGwire becomes MLB's top home run hitter to be traded in the middle of the season when he moves from Oakland to St. Louis. And in 2001, the 88th Tour de France has no winner as Lance Armstrong is disqualified. That's This Week in Sports History. I'm JP.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home to hometown sports, covering the biggest high school games. UWF football, catching every game of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Plus, local sports commentary with the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. And weekend sports talk with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick on the Sports Call. We are local. We are ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, we'll get to more Major League Baseball. Well, even if you don't bean somebody, you might be missing 8 weeks. Just don't look at them with that Keith Stonelight face. We'll also get to more local news with high school football and talk some UWF football with Will Kennedy coming up today on the Sports Drive.
Has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Emma scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast each every day on Blab TV. I'm Chad Brillante, a Patriot fan where all of our balls are deflated in this studio. Footballs. 2 O's. Joining us across the glass, was kind enough to make time for us today on Talk Football with Coach K, because that's his job, and I was in here as well. JP, what's happening? Good to see you. I was going to say, you're like, I had to be here. Why were you here?
I had to be here, yeah, every day. I'm doing good. Interesting to see MLB making their statement. The ACC released a schedule with no dates other than when their title game would be. So Notre Dame's a part of that. But although it doesn't have all their games.
So when is Clemson playing?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
What if they slipped up? Who's even doing it now? Is Swafford, is this his final year? Is he's already hitting Cancun right now?
Who?
The guy that you hate. We're talking about John Swafford.
Oh, the commissioner of the ACC. Oh, yeah. Who cares?
I don't hate him. I think he's.
I don't hate anybody. Well, except certain people. But
you don't like Eli Apple. I know that.
Well, I don't hate Eli Apple. See, hate's a different. I despise Eli. I think he's tremendously overrated. Now, could I do what he does? Sometimes I could let people run right by me.
Would you rather somebody hate you or despise you, though?
Probably hate me.
All right.
At least I know truly how you feel. You just let it out. Despise means something more to that. But no, I could do what Eli Apple does sometimes and let people run by me or miss coverages. I could do that every time, but no, I could not do what he does on a normal basis. But anyway, no, I think it's interesting. They released 10 games here, and they will add a non-conference game. There's a little block over here to be announced. But December 12th or 19th will be the ACC championship. And how about this? One division, no divisions. It's based on winning percentage. Conference game winning percentage. So
there you go.
You don't have to win your to be announced game, that doesn't count.
Well, I mean, at this point, the one thing about college football we do know is that most of it, I think it's funny when I was listening to the SEC network and some of the people were like, Mississippi State fans were like, we really need to. I'm like, stop. Like, we're talking about championships. No offense, but there's a select few group of like 4 or 5 different teams at the most that this conversation's relevant. Like when the ACC is saying it, if you're Clemson fans, you need to turn on the station. Like, okay, what's up? Florida State might be in the game. Miami, I'm Ron Burgundy, maybe. But when it comes down to most of this, we don't have the perfect answer yet for it, but the big leagues are going to do it. For everybody out there that still believes that because of COVID is the reason why leagues like the Ivy League dropped or NJCAA, they haven't done their research. Because to test athletes with COVID testing every day is not cheap. I actually was on a TV ad for marketing this product out of Louisiana with a group here locally, and had an opportunity to talk on it. I did a lot of the research. Now, there was scientists and other people that knew a lot more. When they started going to molecular, breaking it down, I was like, okay, get me out of here.
Bow out.
Get me out. I just smiled and winked. Hey, just looked at the camera. But we do need to understand with this that it's going to cost millions upon millions of dollars. I think for the league itself, I saw somewhere between $75 and $80 million for the year is what it's going to cost the conference. So if you allocate that between the 14 teams, now you're still talking about the possibility of having to fork out $7-8 million a team on this. You think that these NJCAA teams, now Pensacola State doesn't have it, but do you think Pensacola State and the Pirates, Bill Hamilton, a friend and an athletic director, they don't have $7-8 million for testing if they were going to do it? And even if they did it at a smaller level, if it was $1 million, a lot of these teams don't have $1 million laying around for testing. So it's not that simple of a process just to say, hey, test everybody every day, make it safe, and make sure everything. Then you have to deal with the liabilities. The kid's not making the money. You have to find a way, because what is working so far is the NBA through a bubble. Lou Williams, National Chicken Wing Day. Ho, 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 ho. We're not.
Not to Lou Williams. You put him in
okay,
that.
All right.
Separate that statement.
He was getting some wings.
Separate that statement.
Johnny Manziel and Kevin Harlan, one of the best voices out there, is backed. They do have the best wings at Magic City. I do not know that. Yeah.
Cool.
Thighs and breasts, too. You get all 3 chicken wings at Magic City.
You get way more than that.
You get the whole package.
Are we still talking about chicken or
half chicken? It's you pay extra for full chicken. But the difference is hot. It's hot.
Falls right in your lap.
That's right. Right off the bone. Okay,
all right. We got.
All right, yeah, we got to stop.
We're gonna go back
there's
and forth.
No way in the next 5 minutes any of this is going to go down a good path.
No.
But thanks, Lou. But outside of the people that left and they made sure to go down the 10-day ISO, everybody else is no positive tests.
Yeah,
look at that. So at this point, what we do know is that the NBA followed the bubble rule, and Adam Silver did a good job, and they're ready to play into this week with 0 positive tests going on inside that. It's going to be harder for college football. Yeah.
NHL did it too.
NHL did too, because they ISO'd the players and they made sure to handle it properly.
The NHL did. I will say this. They did it a step better because their players came in before they even got there, getting off the bus and getting tested, 0 tested positive. So when the NBA got there, remember a few guys tested positive. The NHL, none of them tested positive, showing like upon arrival. So that just kind of shows you how serious those guys were taking it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once again, to give you an idea with everything going on, the Reds, I know nobody cares, and this is not about the baseball side, but Senzel and Moustakas are back in the lineup today. Remember, I told you they set them out after Matt Davidson tested positive, and they woke up the next day and didn't feel 100%, and they said, look, just err on the side of caution. Go ahead, go get away from the team, quarantine. So they quarantined for 3 days, had double negative tests, which I thought a double negative was a positive, but I'm not going to get into my math. That's neither here nor there. But once again, they did that. They didn't test positive at all at any point through this, but quarantined them for a few days, and now they're back. So this can work. This just takes a lot of responsibility. People have to understand that.
Looking at some of the other headlines here, Tua has been cleared to play. This is good news after dealing with the injury to his hip and most of his extremities. He has a chance now to get out there and battle against Ryan Fitzpatrick, the slightly less paid version of Conor McGregor after 3 days in Tampa. Nothing like the billboards of Jameis. You think there's still one in town? You know, like on the Marshall's rack, once in a while there's like still like a Stephon Marbury jersey out there? You know, that one that you're like, clearly nobody has bought this in 6 years? Or you get that team that's so ancillary to your area. I was needing a jacket one time. It was cold, and I was in the shop, and I got an Arizona State Sun Devils jacket that was in a Pensacola local TJ Maxx. So you know those teams that go completely rogue. We got Cal Polytech. I've
gotten Oregon stuff.
We've got
around here that I find.
Yeah, but Nike. You would think they're going to sprinkle them in.
This was not Nike Oregon though. This was random, not Nike Oregon. No, Nike Oregon doesn't end up here. Costs too much.
Reebok Oregon stuff.
I don't know what it was.
But
fell apart in the wash. The first time.
If you see Reebok Oregon stuff, stay clear. It's a false brand. This is somebody sewed the patch of polo. This is a fraudulent market. That would never happen. But having the opportunity to go ahead and see the opportunity for Tua to play, cash it or smash it. Tua will be the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins and Coach Flores week 1.
Smash it. I think they're going to take their time and make sure. This is not a team that's built to go to the playoffs right now. Now, with that being said, anything can happen in that division, especially with what's going on. But I want to make this clear. I still believe, unfortunately, the Patriots will win that division. But I mean,
if they can form a team, I mean, if
they had their normal training camps, they could do kind of whatever they want. You know, maybe. But I still think, once again, that they're going to err on the side of caution with this, especially not knowing if we're even going to be able to make it through a season. What Tua means to that franchise. And once again, I said this on Talk Football with Coach K, Ryan Fitzpatrick is there. And I know that doesn't excite people, but this guy's he's been a serviceable quarterback. He's perfect for this right now because Ryan Fitzpatrick can win a ball game. I mean, he's not going to wow you, but once again, he understands his situation. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is the perfect guy. He's not going to he's going to try to compete for a starting job. He wants to play like any competitor out there, but he does get it. Like, he does say, you know what, I know Tua's coming to take this spot. I'm just here temporarily. He's going to help Tua. Everybody that's played with Ryan Fitzpatrick has said nothing but great things. So I think this is a win-win, but for Miami, I think by midweek or mid-year that he'll start, but I don't think week 1, no.
Well, we talked about it a little, but the ACC to add that as well. Notre Dame will be part of the full league schedule. Jeff Wayne, sorry. The ACC Board of Directors voted to proceed with the 11-game football season that begins September 12th. This will also include Notre Dame playing a full-length schedule, but only if public health guidance allows. Look, there's going to be things along the road. They're trying to – all we want to see, though, is what Mark Emmert did not do at the beginning when he was like – when everybody was sort of like getting a little pessimistic. It takes leadership to step up and say, we can still go through this. At a time like this, there's not going to be any company, any business with people right now that you might have opened up a bar. I've got a brother-in-law that opened up a bar. They had to stop. Then they looked like they were back. And then some people call it, quote, second wave, whatever it was. Then they stopped. And then he had to figure it out again. And now they're not sure what to do if it's going to come back. So all of this stuff, when you talk about things, we need to understand that just like in sports, you need guidance. You need a leader to step up and say, we're going to take some hits, but we're going to continue to keep on fighting. And spending a whole week around Roy Jones Jr. in that ring, we need to understand. But so far, we haven't had a lot of guidance and leadership. And from Major League Baseball that did a bad job overall for 3 months, not even bad, like the kind that you get stuff thrown on the football field booing your team off. Like they had first and goal, and they did a screen pass, and all that guy has to do is catch the ball, and they win the game, and he drops it. All you have to do is anything, and in this case, they blew it. Major League Baseball blew it for 3 months. You blew it! But then, the way they handled the Miami Marlins situation, awesome. Baseball's continuing. We're watching a very vital Colorado Rockies and Oakland A's game. That's on
it's
right.
baseball, so yeah, there you go.
But everybody else is going on and playing. The Marlins will sit out until Sunday, and then the rest of the league will continue as followed. If we had to choose like a Survivor show, one team to take a hiatus for a week anyway, Mr. Marlins, you would be on that list anyway. So if this was the Red Sox or Yankees, the market might be a little different. The ACC right now and Notre Dame and all these leagues, they're going to have moments where they're not going to be able to play or something's going to happen with the team. but they also gave them week 0. That was a good thing because based on week 0, it gives them leverage for at least another week where if a team has a snafu along the way, that they can go ahead and cancel that game or move it to a later date. So that was at least a positive sign that things are happening, and it has to be involved with them playing football. And that's a good thing.
Mentioning Mark Emmert, I'm sure you saw his comments yesterday as he said he remains very concerned about the status of fall sports and thinks a delayed start and shortened schedule might make sense at this time. Once again, okay, I'm trying to keep my cool, but you're saying everything that's already been out there by these commissioners now. We don't need you, Mark Emmert. Go outside of the room, think about what you've done, sit in the corner, whatever. Like, why? It's just, I don't understand. He pops up when he should have been the guy leading this. He should have been saying this stuff before the first time. Then what about the first time when they had him a couple weeks ago when he said, Captain Obvious statements? Why not say that then? Obviously, we know this has been a shorter schedule might make more sense. We've known that for 2 or 3 months now as we went along this. So I could continue on with his whole interview, and I'm not going to, just for the sake of I know we got to move on, and I don't want to get any more.
Yeah, Brian Kelly on behalf of Notre Dame playing the schedule with the ACC said, shoot, brother, somebody's got to pay me. Have you seen that contract, boy? No, I didn't, but that's probably what he's thinking. Somebody's got to pay my contract.
Maybe
that
different
sounds
wordage.
Like Brian Kelly. That sounds like
maybe Brian Kelly's son.
Yo, dog, you gotta pay my bills.
Hook me up. Somebody's got to hook me up.
That's a lot of money right there. Somebody's got to pay it. The Peacock's not this year. When we come back, we'll get to more on what's going on right now with, UWF football, as Will Kennedy will join us to break down right now. It's going to be a little tougher, as we understand, with Division II because just like we saw with the Wahoos, who could afford to come back in minor league baseball, did not mean the rest of the teams around them could afford it. And you have to have autonomy to a point in order for these leagues to start. So Division II, we just talked about how much money and the finances for COVID testing and the protocol and the safety measures to be taken. We'll see. We're
send
praying
them to the championship game. They're going to be there anyway.
Defending champions.
Just send them there.
I'll teach them how to claim it. That's what we do. Go Knights. Coming back for more Sports Drive with Will Kennedy, voice of UWF.
Are you ready to kickstart your career or maybe make a change in your current career? Georgetown Technical College offers short-term, hands-on programs that equip you with industry-recognized certifications in fields that offer jobs right here in the Pensacola area. And starting in August, Georgetown Technical College is offering face-to-face instruction. To learn all about the programs, costs, and schedules, visit georgestoncollege.edu. That's georgestoncollege.edu.
This Thursday at 5:30, tune into the Sports Drive with me, Chad Brillante, when we tee it up with PGA and head pro at Osceola Golf Course, Adrian Stills, for his inside scoop on local golf events and some entertaining stories around the links. Adrian has represented Pensacola at the highest levels of the PGA Tour and is proud to call Pensacola his home. And now he's giving you the inside scoop Thursday at 5:30, right here on the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. I hope a couple people have listened to music like that in their house, doing maybe like the...
Got to during these times.
Yeah.
Get a little energy
Hey, with
going.
the 4-year-old running around, everybody with kids, you've got to like form your own Olympics out there. It's been pretty fun. And joining us, somebody that knows a thing or two about that with the family, and always great to listen to them, calling national title games and the championship coming back home for the UWF Argonauts. Will Kennedy, the voice of UWF Sports, joins us, and great to have him on as man. Will, how's everything going outside of the obvious, and how is the family doing?
Everybody's good. Everybody's healthy. Hopefully the same for you guys. Just trying to make it through life. Sat there and watched a little baseball last night. Astros Dodgers. It was nice to have on the TV, but just trying to figure out where it's all going.
And there's not a perfect answer. That's why a lot of people, as you know, for any line of in our jobs, we try to do the right thing, but doesn't mean if there's a few bad apples when it comes to journalists or other people out there saying things, that means the rest of us aren't trying to do our jobs properly. And, every day even when it was we were essential, but this was back in March. We call it Friday the 13th is known, but Thursday the 12th was the day that Rudy Gobert and the situation where it seemed all sports came to a halt. And I'll never forget that day. But, Will, one of the things we do know is that every league is trying to figure this out together, and when it comes to football, it's going to be the toughest just based on there's so many different moving pieces, and also financially, it is the game that costs the most, and we know what happens in the SEC is not what Division II and UWF is dealing with when it comes to the proper amount of money for COVID testing and everything that else goes into it. Just talk about being around the facility, how UWF has handled it so far.
It's been, Chad, like a series of just kind of pushing everything back. It's just kind of what we've seen in other walks of life as well. But we were supposed to have athletes back on campus. I think July 7th was the date that they could start coming back, and we were hoping to have, some summer workouts start for football and other things. That has continued to just get pushed back. And obviously the athletes are working out on their own. They're able to do their own things, whether it's football or tennis or other sports. And I've seen a lot of our football players that are around here doing their own thing, trying to stay in shape, trying to do what they can with what they have around them. And I've seen it as well on social media and other places for our players who are scattered out around the state of Florida and other states as well. And so it's tough on them, and I think it's tough from a coaching standpoint, a program standpoint, a fan standpoint, alumni, everybody, of just what's unknown and kind of not knowing. And that's really where we are now. We're just in a holding pattern. And I think a lot of it is trickled down, like you talked about, from the big Division I to the next level. Gulf South Conference has met, and obviously your fans have probably already seen we've at least, at minimum, pushed back the start of the season from the traditional start, late August to probably the end of September, early October. That's pushed workouts and everything else back. And I'm going to imagine you're probably going to see that date shift and move a little bit. And it really just all depends on the numbers that are out there. But you hit the nail on the head. It really is all about testing. It's going to be about testing, and what does that look like, and what's the cost, and how can we pull that off?
Will, when it comes down to looking at overall sports, because, I mean, we talk football. That's the bread and butter of everything. Winning a national title was just icing on the cake for an incredible year, one of those that's historic. You've been in the business for a long time. Unprecedented. Over 4 years to go to 2 national titles is unheard of, but to win the national title and do it as a road underdog in pretty much every game, dismantling your opponents, everybody's excited about UWF football. However, Coach Shinnick, everybody around the organization are the perfect type of people to deal with this because, let's just be real, there's not going to be too many Mike Gundy moments where it's like, get out there and play good old foosball like Bobby Boucher's mom. It's going to be, let's take care of the kids as student athletes first, and then also care about them as human beings, but also respectfully know that a lot of these kids are not thinking about it the same way as adults are thinking of it. I know Austin came out and said, if you pulled us, most of us would want to be back on there. But they also get, as responsible people, that there's not a perfect answer to being able to have so many different moving pieces to make it where everybody's going to be happy. How have we looked at with UWF, though, in the way that they're getting planned to play with the schedule? Is it right now pending, or at this point they're going to go forward with the games on their schedule outside of that first week and look at really week-to-week basis on how to play these games?
I would imagine that it's going to be potentially conference only, and that that's not official yet. Everything still stands as of right now. That opening, and we had to kick the opening week around. We had some moving pieces, and we end up getting Texas Commerce, who we played 2017 national championship game. Get a chance for them to come here and play us to open the season. That's going to be a dynamic football game. To have them here to have a rematch of that championship game. Well, that's a tough one. I mean, Texas is in the same boat as the state of Florida as far as what they're seeing with virus numbers and the statistics, and everybody can see those things floating around everywhere, but. So that game's a tough one. I mean, and we just don't know right now. As of right now, we're set to keep that. We had obviously lost Florida Tech when they dropped their football program, so we lose them as a conference game. That was going to be our final regular season game at home. So right now we stand at 4 home games and then our conference games. But you hit it. With football and with the number of players and moving pieces, I've gone on the road with these guys, obviously, to do the games, but I've traveled with them the way they travel too. There's not a lot of ability to social distance on a bus with all these guys, with all these players, And so what does that look like? In fact, I was talking with somebody about this earlier today. They asked me, what's the minimum number of players that you could probably have? And we haven't really talked about that yet, but that's probably something that we do need to look at. And you think about the NFL and their 53-man roster that they have to cut down to. Well, you think, you got 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense, and let's say we take a second team on each side of the ball, well, there's 44 players right there. Then you throw in your special teams and some of your specialists, and there's your 50 to 53 players. And so it may be that it's something like that everybody has to look at that each week about what's the minimum number of guys that we can take if we do have to travel. But it's just hard right now, and you look at what's happening in Major League Baseball as they travel to and from other places and what's happening with the Marlins and other organizations. And it's just the travel opens up a wild card. People living off campus as opposed to on campus opens up some wild card things. It's a nightmare logistically, as is in a perfect world, to travel a football team and go on the road. And then you put this on top of it. But Coach Pete Shinnick, National Coach of the Year, defending national championship coach, is the perfect guy. You're right to have for a situation like this because, one, he's so calm, his demeanor's perfect. He looks at everything with a larger picture and a bigger lens, but he also looks at these players that he has as more than just athletes and players. He looks at them as people, and he's trying to develop that side of them as well. So he's going to take, safety, health, all those things, the families, into account first before he worries really about playing football. And at this level, and really frankly at any level, that's what it comes down to, I think. And so, can we play at all? Can we play in Wahoo Stadium? Or are we going to have to play on campus? Can we have a crowd? When do we start? What does it look like? All those kind of things. There's already been talk about potentially having every sport play in the spring. As if it can't happen in the fall, what does that look like? And, how much does that stress your athletic communications staff and your support staff and your trainers and all that? And so this is we toss around the phrase uncharted waters a lot. This is that.
Well, when you look at the team overall, I mean, we're talking about being on the field. Now, you've got obviously a ton of transfers that came in. No surprise here. I mean, winning a national championship breeds success. Guys want to be a part of it, especially guys that maybe didn't get that opportunity and some that maybe did at other universities. But with what Coach Shinnick, like you said, and has been able to do in such a short period of time, looking at guys like Devontae Mitchell from Ohio, Shea Campbell, obviously from West Virginia, Tim Faison, North Texas, Deontay Grant from Georgia Southern, Key Wetzel from Oregon State. I don't care much for Key Wetzel, being an Oregon fan. I'm just kidding. He's here now with us. I want to make that clear in case he's listening.
Okay.
But all the transfers coming in. I know the defense, when we talk about the linebacking core and some of those other guys are gone now. That's not even counting the other offensive transfers you got coming in. How does Coach feel about these guys? I know it's tough because you haven't been able to get a look at them, but, I mean, does he feel like this is just another reload year and go back after it?
I think the expectations are going to be for this season, should and when we play, and every season moving forward is to compete for a national championship. First the conference championship in the Gulf South Conference, which is the toughest conference in Division II, no question about it, and then compete to make the playoffs, deep runs into the playoffs, and play for titles. And I think you're seeing that the attraction of not just playing for a winner and playing for a program that's come on this fast. Been in 2 national championship games, won one already in their 4th season. But word spreads, right? To play for Coach Shinnick, to play for this coaching staff. If you're on the offensive side of the football, let's just say you're a receiver, I mean, where else would you want to play than with the guy who set the world on fire at quarterback in Austin Reed, who's got 3 more years of eligibility left? You see the numbers this offense puts up, especially from a receiver position, and they love to throw the football around. You want to come here. So we got a kid from Mercer that's transferred in, hopefully step into that role that Tate leaves us. And we do lose a lot of talent. We lose some offensive line, Sam Antoine, Joe Wintrick, Devin Gibson. You're losing 3 of the 5 up front, and you lose, Quentin Randolph and Kevin Grant and Tate and other guys. But there's a lot of talent to step into those roles. And I think the defense, you ticked off that list of names of guys coming in here. I think the defense can be even better than they were last year. So from that standpoint, from a fan standpoint, from a team standpoint, broadcaster standpoint, man, we want to play. We want to get out there. We want to see, what this next 2020 team looks like, and can they compete and win another national championship? If we can't play that Valdosta game, here coming up, absolute shame that would be to not have that game, because I almost feel like even if, let's just say we couldn't have the playoffs, right? You almost feel like you could just set that up as a national championship type game, and to have it here. We were going to have the last 3 national champs play here in Pensacola this year. We still may. We hope that is the case and that we pull that off. But that's a testament to how good this program is, and kind of what the future looks like and what it holds. Is that guys, D1 guys want to come here for a variety of reasons. The reasons are all different sometimes, but I think they really want to come here and play and be a part of this, because they're hearing from their peers and from other guys how special this program is and what it's like to play for Coach Shinnick and his staff, and what that looks like to make that happen. And I think the excitement and the hype and everything that we've got going for us, we're itching to get out there and play again.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, I think everybody is, as football fans, it is okay to say we all want football, but also understand that it's not the perfect answer, and to do it with the right measures. And lo and behold, the NBA and the NHL have decided to go to a isolated bubble to test their players daily before the games. And guess what? Both leagues, 0 tests, except for Lou Williams need to get those chicken wings. We'll see if that. But outside of that, lo and behold, they followed the protocol. They listened. They did it right, and both leagues have 0. So shocking, Will, right?
Yeah, the fact that and that's not feasible for football, right? To put
exactly
NFL. College football is a whole other story, but the NFL, you can't put 32 teams in a bubble. It's not going to work.
Just like baseball.
And we've seen overseas. Now, here's the thing, though. Baseball could have done that. And not like a bubble, but they could have gone to Arizona or somewhere where it's a spring training facility and there's multiple fields. Logistically, that's a tough one, but that could have been done. But we do have a little bit of an example. If you've watched like overseas Germany and English soccer, they've been able to play home and away, finish out their schedules, and with pretty reasonable results. But it all comes down to the players, everybody buying in on the testing and following protocols and following rules. And unfortunately, we've all been there, right? You guys know. You remember? Well, I don't remember. It's a long time for me now. What it was like to be 20, 21 years old, right? My body certainly doesn't. But you look at Rutgers. I just saw a story today. Rutgers, they've got a rash of positives, and they've had to quarantine the whole team because they had a party on campus. And so, how do you got to get those players to buy in to everything and not, sneak off and go to a fraternity party or do this or do that because their friends are doing it. That's kind of a wild card in this all as well. But, I think you're right. We kind of all need it. Grand scheme of things, we step back and we say how important is sports in the grand scheme of things in life and all these other things. Let's keep it in perspective. But it would be great, would it not, to have that distraction again, to have that kind of normality again of having some football on TV, even if we can't go to the stadium and sit there and root and cheer the way we're accustomed to doing, to have that be part of our life and make us kind of feel regular again.
Well, if they don't have a season, Will, you guys have to beat us to the punch because my school, UCF, is going to claim every division at every level. So we will, we'll co-chair with you guys even without a season. But that's what we do, and we've already put in the pad.
They want a real one.
It's like the guy that bought the Radskins from Daniel Snyder, which was hilarious. But the Radskins.
The bright side is, I tell our guys this, the bright side is, worst case scenario, we end up hanging on to the championship for another year, right?
That's awesome. Yeah.
We can claim that for a little while longer. It will happen again. We will get back to it again. But we've touched on it here. I think step back and look at it. What an exciting time once we get back on the field, because I really feel like you're going to see something. It happened probably faster than anybody thought it would, but coaches and other people have told me, man, if they start a program down there, look out what can happen in Pensacola and with the University of West Florida. And now that it's happened, I think, you're going to see this become that kind of potentially dynasty type program where year in and year out, there's just too much talent in this state, too much talent in this region around us, and you want to come here and play. I feel for a guy like Austin Reed, because, you mentioned, he's chomping to get back out there for a bunch of reasons, because he loves football, he loves playing, he loves breaking it down, loves working with his receivers. But look at his numbers he put up last year as a redshirt freshman. This kid has a chance, with the way this offense works and the way we play, by the time he's done, to probably set every record in Division II football. And that's saying something, because there have been some really, really good players through the years. Maybe win to Harlan Hill, all that kind of stuff. And, does he get shorted with no season or a 7-game season or whatever it may be? And that would disappoint, because I really feel like, number 14's got the chance to do things that have never been done before at this level.
Well, it's going to be exciting, Will, when the season gets going. We're looking forward to hearing you. For how long, what the case, all of us, we don't know that answer, and we hope everybody that is in the right spot to make those decisions makes the right one on behalf of the kids, the safety, and football. And we're looking forward to talking to you. But as we expect, coming up there in September, October, when the season does get rolling, looking forward to hearing your voice every night on every night. He's like, we don't do it's just every Saturday. He's like, I'm not working every night. I'm sorry, brother, but we'll get you. We're looking forward to hearing it right here on ESPN Pensacola and getting involved in the games.
Absolutely. Love to jump on with you guys whenever. And I've already decided, even if it's no fans in the stadium, same energy, right? We're bringing the same level. And I had an idea. I'm going to toss this out to you guys now. Think about it. Get back to me, right? Whenever. I'd love to do – we talked about it last year a little bit. When we get back to the stadium and the games are going on, we'd love to do like a game day type thing, maybe start a little earlier with the pregame show, come out there where you guys are, bring the fans in, the band in, make it all part. By the way, not this season, but the next one in 2021, band will be marching on the field. We're stepping into the next realm, the next level. Let's blow this thing out. Let's make it huge.
And if we can't have the fans, I know a guy that has those Jimbo Fisher Coke Zero cardboard cutouts from a Publix, and we'll just put a bunch of them all. It's a Florida State hat, so it might defend, but it's we can get our hands on those.
Just don't bring the sex dolls from the South Korean baseball thing, please.
Or that guy that found the jellyfish on the beach, right? And we'll end it on that note. Okay, Will, always great to catch up, and let's not spook that family too much that wakes up in the Airbnb on the Blue Wahoos Day when they see a game going on. So. They're going to be like, what is this, a football game going on? Right? But, guys, it's always great to catch up with you, Will, and we'll do this again soon, my friend.
Absolutely.
All right, appreciate it. Will Kennedy, the voice of UWF football and sports down there. And, Brian Henry, who does a great job as the SID, he travels to the far regions and covering all sports. Does a great job with golf and volleyball, all the sports. He said that right now the conference did announce that they will only play conference games in soccer, volleyball, and football. So they're right now soccer, volleyball, and football are planning to play.
You already heard what I said. Just give them the national championship. Let's jump to it. Whoever wins up north or whatever, that's fine. But I do agree with Will too. God, I was so ready to see Texas A&M Commerce at Blue Wahoo Stadium. You got Valdosta coming to Blue Wahoo Stadium. Like all these home games this year against the big-time rivals, which everybody just about in the GSC is your rival, obviously. But still, I wanted to see that Valdosta State game.
Can we still get lucky to get the Air Brigade to land on the field like we did last year? Standing there and can we still? I don't know if they're gonna.
I don't think it's gonna happen. Let's just get to that point where they have the opportunity to.
I don't think on the list of things to play in. No. Okay, great. You know what? I know you're talking about trying to get a 53-man roster and get them out there. Can we get to the air patrols that's going to skydive?
Can we push that to 53-man in a minute?
You're talking about. Stop talking about conference games. We need to talk about who's going to be flying from that plane for our halftime show. And they still need the guy. All right, even if they don't have a person out there. Come on, everybody. Third down. Let's make some noise out there. Just chirp, 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 chirp. Are you for pumping crowd noise?
Let's not get into this again.
Oh. I'll be loud enough for everybody. Give me a couple of those cocktails. All right.
Cocktails or not, you'll be just fine.
Be in the side. Oh. Who is this guy, right? He found a way to get back in.
Progressive Motorcycle presents Road Wisdom from the Motor. Half man, half motorcycle. The road is everything you want it to be. Everything. As long as what you want is road. To ride your motorcycle on. Progressive Motorcycle also presents basic policy starting at $75 a year. Progressive Motorcycle, for those who were born to ride. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy is not available in all states.
There are people who say things aren't made here anymore. Those people should make a trip to Michigan, or Kentucky, or Illinois, where you'll find our workers and dealers and engineers and technicians building at the Ford Motor Company, the same way we have for over a century, in the same place, for the same reason. Built for America.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
And yet another major brand just announced it's halting all social media advertising.
The two most overused and abused words in advertising are truth and trust. They are the two most precious commodities for all brands, big and small. As an advertiser, you have to trust your partners to protect your brand's truth. Radio advertising, trusted to deliver your brand's truth since 1920.
Hi, it's Chad Brillante. You can trust locally owned ESPN Pensacola to deliver your business's message.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right?
Of course, making sure you have no holes in your defense.
Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless, and you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G.
And no contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. Check out terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
You can watch Chad on the Sports Drive live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Oh, hot damn. This
is my jam. Keep me partying to the AM.
No, don't do that. It's not protocol.
Shout out to Rutgers.
That's not a protocol.
Shout out to Rutgers party out there.
Party till the AM right there.
That's what they were doing.
Knocking over some blocks and singing Moana right there.
What the Marlins were doing.
Dressed as Hey Hey Saturday for my daughter. Looking at the
we will get into that later on.
People need to understand when you say say things about the safety and protocol. One of the big things about Division II about starting the season is it's going to cost millions of dollars overall throughout the course of the season for conferences to try to deal with testing, proper testing. Now, at the biggest level, the NFL, they can afford it. We saw the reports $9.4 billion was shared in revenue share. And Roger Goodell alone from his basement with his candies doing the NFL draft parties can probably afford that.
I got the answers for $30 a team. You need to hit me up.
You can afford a Red Bull, too. He's falling asleep out there. I can't. I'm not
I can save a lot of people a lot of money. $30. Got the answers.
So, also, the people that are talking about the Patriots tanking, by the way, they're not doing that. Like, there's no reason why Bill Belichick would get on the phone. If you are going to tank, you wouldn't start off with the heavy hitters. Now that Tom Brady's gone, Donta Hightower is probably the dude that you – Julian Edelman, we'll see, with either the incumbent, as we say on the network, Jared Stidham, or good old Cam out there. I got to like him now. I can't say Mary Poppins stuff anymore. But overall with Cam Newton, he's going to have to go out there and throw to guys that aren't the best. You got N'Keal Harry, who was a first-rounder, but they're not tanking. Obviously, the memes are going to be out there to Trevor Lawrence. I'd be okay if they did that personally. Shh, I didn't say it. But he's not doing it this year. And the players, though, the safety and other issues like that, I respect. Donta Hightower came out and he talked about his family and that his parents with diabetes. But here's the deal with that. So are you going to say, though, that you're not going to go out anywhere? Because really, if you're saying that I don't want to be traveling everywhere and come back and seeing them, we all have had every one of us with our families right now. If you have my mom and dad are in their 60s, and when I saw them, I tried to respect not getting right up to them, hugging them all the time. Not everybody in the South's touchy, lovey-feely. You're sort of like, hey, pops, now shaka, which nobody ever did on a farm before. No. Never shaka some guy in a pickup truck right there working on a cow. Never happened. But most people understand that no matter what you're doing right now, you're respectful of people older. If you have grandparents or parents, you're safe around them. And so for when Hightower says something like, well, I don't, with my family having, diabetes, and it's something where I don't want to be around them to bring it back on the road trips, couldn't you still finish the season? They would understand that you have a job to do and that you could FaceTime and stay away or distance from them. Like many, hey, I'm just not going to come visit you during these games. Or if I'm tested that day, if you're just tested and you turn out that day leaving practice, which the NFL is going to have the most expensive testing, doesn't mean they're going to do it right. The NBA in a bubble has done it right. The NHL, 0 tests right now. Getting ready to play. Just bringing back more sports, which we love. Sometimes over the last 4 months, we lost what we actually do for a living, which is get to talk games and love it, instead with all these other stories. But the NFL needs to look at it and say, a lot of these players that are opting out, if they say for safety reasons, so you're saying that you're never going to go out there and hang out with anybody? You're not going to go golfing? You're not going to go hang out maybe go to a club if you're in that $150,000? They're not doing it for the money because they're losing more money and they're getting that $150,000. But the offensive lineman at Kansas City that came out and said, I'm going to go work on the foreground right there. I want to be in the front line to help people in the hospital and have a chance. Now
He's been doing that since March.
Yeah, seems like a really good dude. I don't know him personally, but he just seems...
If you got that degree, then that's why you get degrees sometimes.
But the only thing I read that story, though, why wasn't he talked about, what was his job again? He was what do they call the name of what he did at the hospital? Because if he got a degree, I got to look this one up. But the name of his job was something that you don't get a degree to get. That was the only thing that threw me off the story.
I don't know.
It's beyond the point. But overall, yeah.
That's fine. And
no,
I don't have a problem. Once again, this doesn't bother me.
You can do what you want to do. First off, anybody does.
For him to say that, okay, hats off, because people do have those concerns, and for some people, A guy like Donta Hightower, if he's worried about his family and things like that, maybe he doesn't want to have to be. And let's remember, he's a guy that doesn't have to be in that situation like some of these other guys that are trying to make money. He has some money. He's made a lot of money. So for him, it's easy. He's like, nah, I don't want to change what I do each and every year. This year, I'm just going to sit out, and we'll see what happens. So it is. Look, once again, there's enough players that will play in the NFL if they have a season. They'll have one. I mean, a lot of these stars won't sit out because it's like the Yankees. And Zach Britton came out and said yesterday, look, we want to play. We want to make it clear. We understand the risks. We understand every day we show up, the risk we take. Every day when we leave this ballpark, we know it's up to us to do our part, and we trust our organization that they are putting us in the best position to be safe. But outside of that, they can't protect us from everything. So, once again, I said this before. I said this on Coach's Show today. The players don't need us to speak for them. You know, hearing all these people saying, these poor players, they're being forced. No, these players aren't being forced. That's why they can opt out, even in college. You saw the cornerback who's a potential first-round pick from Virginia Tech. He opted out. Hats off to you. I mean, if that's what you want to train and go get ready for the draft, cool. I mean, once again, I have no problem. There's too many people that will play. This is not something I'm worried about.
Do you think it was coincidence, and this is not for stones to get cast here, like, you go down this path, but do you think it was coincidence that like 6 people opted out right after the NFL made the rule if you're seen at any event or out that you'll lose your full contract?
Yeah, that you can. You'll be penalized.
Do you think that was coincidence that all those people opted out right after that? Or like that they knew that, hey, we're going to go out and we're going to enjoy our life. So
it's better. Football's better off without those people that it bothered. And like I said, Donta Hightower, if you're not going to follow the protocols to a T, then opt out because it's only going to hurt the game. It's only going to hurt your team. And for the guys that opted out for that reason, I'm sure there's plenty of people that did that and said, bro, no, I'm going out. I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm a single dude or whatever it is. I'm going to live the way I want to live. And, hey, hats off to you. Once again, no love lost because those are the exact people that will ruin this entire thing and will ruin the protocols.
I'm fine with that. They're giving up a lot of money to do that, and that's okay. I'm okay with anybody making their decisions on their life. But if you're truly saying, you know, when they asked Peyton Barber, why did you enter the draft early? Like, you weren't even the best running back at Auburn. Why'd you? He's like, well, my mom's homeless, and I'm trying to make a contract for her. And then that guy, like, silently crept out of the building like, I'm an idiot, and I'm out. You know, like he didn't want anything to do with that then. Like one of those, like, oh, sorry to ask that one. Well, in this case, if you're going to say, though, I'm going to be for my mom because she needs me there. She has nobody else to take care of it. But to say I don't want to be I am going to respect people, but I'm not fully buying the if somebody says, you know, my parents are old, they're dealing with this, I don't want to be around them. By going and playing football doesn't mean.
Does his parents live with him?
No, that's what I'm saying. You're an NFL athlete that he does not. He lives in his own home. Yes, I do know that.
Because I know a lot of these people have their parents in like a mother-in-law house or whatever. It's well, once again, though, you got to understand this. You got to put yourself in other people's shoes that constantly visit his parents. I mean, once again, I don't know. I'm not saying he's telling the truth. I'm not saying he's lying, but maybe he wants to visit his parents. Maybe with everything going on, whatever. Regardless, maybe he visits parents all the time during the season or whatever. So I'm not going to fault him. Because
but what does the NFL do every game, every week? They test their players. So he would actually be safer getting tested on like a Friday before they get ready for the trip and then go and see his parents knowing that he just tested negative than they're not going to send him home with a travel test kit where he's just going to go, I'm going to go grab groceries at Publix and he's going to test himself. He's actually safer by playing in the NFL. See what I'm saying? I'm actually doing
But he can bring it home, and he may not know by the time he gets his test. I don't understand that.
No, they test before the time of the week.
They're testing 2 weeks every day through training camp, and then once the season starts, that cuts back.
But
as long as they stay below the 5%. So
they're going to test at least every week, though.
Okay, but still, you can still bring it from somebody else. All it takes is
what I'm wondering is how much does he live with his family or not?
If you're
I don't
out there
see
with
my
80
family for months
people,
and I'm okay.
Though, 80 other people or 79 other people, including coaches, you're assuming that they're all doing the right thing, which obviously if these guys are playing, they're hoping they will, but all it takes is for somebody else to give it to him come home and not realize he has it. For that one day, he comes home after practice or whatever it is, and then he gives it to his parents. That's what I'm saying. And then you gave it to him, and God forbid something happens, you gave it or whatever, and now crap. Like you may not have it. You may have done everything right, but it doesn't mean everybody else will. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand where you're coming from. Yeah, just because you test don't mean that you test negative today, don't mean you can't get it tomorrow. And if they're not testing every single day, or regardless if they are, you won't know, because sometimes it takes up to 5-6 days before you can show symptoms.
But what I'm saying to you is you believe, and I'm not trying to single out Hightower, there's other players, but you think these players are not going to a Publix or they're not going somewhere to get groceries. So what I'm saying is, if these people are going to say, I'm going to ISO and I'm not doing anything and I'm going to follow all protocol, then good for you for being that person. But I truly, when they say I'm going to be around my parents, I'd feel safer with somebody knowing that every week I know my updates than the stuff that we have to do, like I had a meeting downtown today, or being around people.
But we can get tested right now anytime we want.
But we have to wait in 4-hour lines to do that, where these people are getting it at their right to them every week, where they know the other players too are getting that. They know everybody that stepped on that football field are players that have been tested. That's why it's working right now.
But if a player, so you all your players come in there and you all get tested, and there could be 3 guys that have it, and then you won't know that minute. You don't know. It's not like it snap your finger.
But what do
and
they
then
do
it pops
right
up.
when they do have it? You all get tested immediately.
But you could already have it. You could have already gotten it from somebody else.
But
because they came in with it, you didn't know that. Because you're bumping heads. Look, there's no perfect thing to this. These guys are going to get it.
That's the big thing is, this is not high school. What I'm saying is, are they running home to mom and dad in the NFL every day? That's what I'm saying.
But Donta Hightower lives a great life. He probably doesn't go out all the time. I don't know what his life is. If he's talking about his parents, he may have them around him or whatever it is. You're saying like this guy is going out and hanging out at the bar every night.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is,
you're saying I just don't.
I'm just wondering how much he sees his family and as an NFL player, because I've never met an NFL
Probably
player.
a bunch if he's opting out for his parents.
Based on the contract, though, that's what he's saying, though. That's the whole
So
point.
let's
I'm not buying
believe
that.
So then, okay, don't believe anybody then.
Well, I'm not saying.
So then, okay, by him saying that, now you're coming after Donta Hightower. And there's no way you can say no to that, because why do you have a reason to believe that Donta Hightower's lying?
Do his parents live with him?
Why do you have a reason that Donta Hightower's lying?
Because I get to see my family like once every 4 months because you make sacrifices. You're
we
saying
all
that
live your
every
life.
Friday they get tested once a week. You're saying you can't get tested, and then if you test negative, you can't go see your family once. Go to Red Lobster, do whatever you want to do. But once you test negative,
No, because you know why? Because he has millions of dollars, so he doesn't have to live like you and me. He doesn't have to make that decision. He can make the decision.
But now
like
you're
you
not
did.
saying it's because of his parents. You're saying the same thing I am now.
No, I'm wait a minute. How did you just twist what I said? No, you're saying he can't. If he tests negative, then basically he's negative. Even though he could go the very next day in practice or walkthroughs or whatever and get that, and then he takes it home after the game or after practice or whatever, but because he tested negative 3 days ago or 2 days ago, he's still not negative? Like, just because you test negative today don't mean you can't test positive tomorrow. Like, that's what I'm not understanding with you. You're acting like this virus is like, okay,
but based
we're gonna
on what
wait,
you're saying,
we're
all
a week.
screwed because everybody's going to get it. Most of these players are
saying
following the rules.
He's opting out for caution, he's saying, of his parents. And look, fine. I don't know. I love my parents. My relationship has changed since college and everything. I've gotten so much closer. You know, everything changes as you get older. You realize how much more important they are than when you don't realize that when you're kids because they're always there, things like that. I get it, man. And guess what? He doesn't have to play football. He can say, first off, he didn't have to say anything. He doesn't owe, none of these guys owe us an explanation. I want to make that clear. If you want to opt out, by God, you're the one putting yourself out at risk. Then opt out. But you're saying he can't bring it home to his parents is laughable. Like,
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
You're saying because he tests negative means that, he's okay.
Most people love their family, correct? Let's just go with this. Let's end it. Most people love their family. Most people have their family older than them and are at higher risk. So everybody in the NFL could say, I don't want to play in the NFL because I love my family, correct?
Correct.
So what makes you any different than everybody else unless, like I said, they live with them and they sleep in the same bed? I'm just trying to figure out why that is something everybody goes,
He's putting family ahead of football.
So what you're saying is we should cancel football because everybody should do that. We all should put family ahead of football. Why? What makes him better?
You're not going to twist my words. First off, I'll make that very clear.
I'm not saying that.
You're twisting. Yes. So Donta Hightower chooses. He's like, you know what? With everything going on, I'm just going to stay with my family. So because he does that, we're supposed to cancel. That's not at all what I'm saying. He's erring on the side of caution. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Guys that are playing now, they know the risk. Like the Yankees, and they said that. Zach Britton came out and said that. We know the risk. But you know what? If guys opt out, they have the right to opt out. Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
When you show up to work every day, my father worked at a chemical plant. He knew the risk.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he hates his family, just like it doesn't mean these players hate their family if they play football. That's not what I'm getting at.
I know.
My words will not be twisted that way.
We'll talk more. I don't want to twist your words.
Because once again, Donta Hightower is choosing
Let's continue
to stay
this.
with his family.
I'm still in this mood. We're still got the gloves on. What we have to, or we're going to actually miss the top of the air. Let's click this, and we'll come back, and we'll continue this. I'll get into it again. Sports Drive will continue. ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
The ACC is getting set to play their schedule. We'll get to more on that and the conference schedule with Notre Dame added to it. They won't get all the Peacock money. And Joey Bosa, how about being the richest man, but you might not be even the best in your own family at your position.
Has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin. Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Ball's been beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba.
Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back. Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. I am Chad Brillante alongside JP. Some good blows during the break right there. We're good. We're good to go. Another round. Hey, look, last thing that I ever want to do to anybody, especially somebody that's got a good heart like you, and we've sat through all of this, and we've been on the side of humanity. So if he truly, in his heart, which at this point, it's not my job. I can, as a voice on radio, the coincidence of timing and saying it, I can voice how I feel. But who am I to judge somebody for making a decision that's best for their family? I'm not. And Calvin Johnson, when he got, Megatron, you want to sit out because of a couple pansy, and the way that he was treated when he was like, look, I was in the prime of my career and I stepped away. That most people don't step away from huge contracts to leave. That's what he wanted to do. I'm okay with people doing that. Donta's going to make a lot less money this year. He was going to make about $10 million, $12 million bucks. He's going to make $150,000. So he's obviously not doing it for the cash. I'm just saying, if the only thing, and this is not what you said, but when somebody says, broad statement, no Donta or anybody. If anybody in any sport says, I don't want to go back and see my family members and that's why I'm not playing football, to me, every single player in every sport can say that. NBA and NHL are sacrificing not to get to see their wives, their rabbits, their daughters, their dogs. They're not getting to see any of their immediate family that take walks in the neighborhood, even in 99-degree weather. They're not doing any of that for 3 months. It's like, Lou wanted to get some chicken wings. But the NFL is able to have their freedoms. But when you say your parents, and they both have diabetes, which is serious, and you got to look at that. That is a serious risk, and we know that's a health risk, asthma and diabetes, for people they can die. And it's scary. You don't want to do that to your family. But what I'm saying is, if you truly believe in your heart that Donta's going to go home and he's not going to go out or he's not going to be in situations, he doesn't live with his mom and dad, I just truly believe you can play a football season and say, Mom, Dad, there are a lot of family members of families in their 60s and grandparents that other guys all over the NFL, probably hundreds, thousands, that they just probably have to stay away from their family for a little while or Zoom for a couple games until the road trips, or on that day that you get the result back negative and you feel safe that you haven't been around those players, then that's up to you at that point to take that risk. But I'm just saying that I truly believe that if you say, I don't want to get your family, that is okay to do. But everybody in the NFL, everybody in every league right now in Major League Baseball, that outside of the Marlins, everybody else has been able to follow protocol, that we believe in the people to be able to play the sport and follow it. Not everybody is. But I felt like a little of it that when you're coming back, you felt like after they get the negative test, in a matter of that day, you would have them being like gunslinging Wild Wild West, and that's not what you said, but these players would be coming back and then he would be testing and he'd be going home with the positive test. I believe that within that time when the test comes back, that most of the players, if they test negative, they're going to play that week in football, and the NFL is going to allow them on the field. And the NFL doesn't want this to spread, because the one power the NFL does not have right now is the second players test negative, the power or positive, the power of the media, if it's 5 or 6 teams, will shut those games down, as they should, for safety protocol. So based on what we've seen in Major League Baseball, outside of the Marlins, most teams with roster sizes very similar and the same semantics of moving around have been able to figure a lot of it out.
So he has a 3-week-old daughter as well.
Okay,
that is getting lost in this as well. So let's look at a couple things here. If we're going to break this down, let's break this all the way down.
Once again, so many family members have young kids at 25?
So he's not going to be able to be around his family like he normally will.
Phillip Rivers is a liability
out of caution with everything. Okay, and once again, this player, the practicing, you getting tested, if you get tested on Friday, whatever it is, this guy goes out, and this guy doesn't have to go out partying. I want to make this clear. This guy could go. You can get coronavirus anywhere around here in our area. We've had cases as well. You could get it from the gas station. You can get it from the grocery stores, whatever it may be. And I understand what you're saying with that. But once again, now we're assuming the way he lives his life. We have no idea. But regardless of that, let's just say he does that. But what if one of those other guys comes in that he's banging heads with every day at practice? Because this is a risk playing football. We know that. We've talked about that. And that's why I've said let these players speak for themselves, because they're the ones putting themselves out there at risk. Me personally, I want to make this clear, I don't care if a guy wants to opt out, a guy wants to opt out. It's just, you know what, he's the one doing it, not me. If it was me, I would play. I would. I mean, I made that clear. I'll stand firm in my statement, okay. But I'm not in that situation. I also don't have parents that are at risk, or I don't have any underlying conditions or anybody around me that does. So I would obviously change the way that I go see my parents and things like that. I wouldn't see them probably as often, but that's me. That's not him. I also haven't made millions upon millions upon millions of dollars either and been a star player. But with this being said and everything that's going on, that guy that comes in and say Thursday he's at the grocery store or whatever, you don't realize he has it, he gets tested Friday, then you realize Saturday he tests positive, that you were just banging heads with, now you're wondering, oh God, like I wonder if I'm going to get it. Because sometimes it can take some time to get it. Sometimes it can take up to 5 days and things like this. So that's what I'm getting at. Once again,
I know.
I get it because you're a Patriots fan. He means a lot to you. But at the same time, like
there is some saltiness in this story.
We do have to respect these guys, and I know you do. I'm not saying you don't, but I'm not putting you in the conversation with everybody like all these other people that are sitting here reading people ridicule him of how dare him do this, how dare him. I know that. Like I said, I didn't put you in that. But I'm saying these people, like, first off, guys, this game is for pure entertainment, I love it. And, okay, I want it back more than anything. I do want it to be as safe as possible. And once again, I make that clear. I know a lot of people are like, well, if you want it to be as safe as possible, we shouldn't play it. I'm not going to get into that argument. I'm not going to get into that statement, and I'm going to move on from that. But with Donta Hightower, a guy that comes out and says for family reasons, cool. Because, bro, you don't owe me nothing. If anything, tell the Patriots. Let them know. Say, hey, and I know he did, but let them know. Like I'm doing it for this reason. You know what?
And for the first time we know, and the one thing we do know, which is why on the ultimate scale we should trust them. We don't know the answer to everything. And
you can't trust Patriots anyway.
That's true. That's true. He's known the Patriot way. So the Sly Fox move in this, he's actually heading out with Bob Kraft tonight. But actually, one of the things we need to understand is that you know that most people, what they do, our country, politicians, let's be clear with everything. It goes back to monetary value. Just like what we said with the Ivy League and the NJCAA, why they're not playing a season, everyone said, 2 months ago they were afraid of COVID. Or were they afraid at 78? It cost millions upon millions. It's going to cost the SEC about $77 to $78 million to test the teams this year throughout the season.
Mississippi JUCOs are playing, by the way.
They don't care. They don't even have. You know, Mississippi's the only state that doesn't have any food labels with calories or anything. They're like, we don't care. Throw some lard on that, baby.
I would.
Taste better.
I love that. I would
Triple
move
helpings.
there if it wasn't Mississippi.
They're the ones that made those bacon mac and cheese that you can get as sides at the store.
Some of the best barbecue.
It's incredible, right there.
Some of the best restaurants in Mississippi.
A package with pulled pork, bacon, and mac and cheese. They're the ones that created that. Good old Southern Mississippi cooking. Now, most teams can't afford the testing that goes along with it and what it costs. They're not going to make that money back on the Ocho or ESPN3. I called some of these games. I know how much money they had in the budget, or they were completely fooling me how much they paid me. But I know for a fact that they're not getting these big dollars. Doritos and these places, they're not getting Puppy Monkey Baby on Mountain Dew commercials on networks that are carrying Harvard versus Brown, Dartmouth versus Cornell. They're not getting that, so they're going to get crushed financially. And at this point, they're going, you know what? We're going to go ahead and focus on what most of these people are there for the educational purposes when you go there. Not too many times ever if somebody goes, well, I spent 3 years over at Princeton. You go, oh, man, what'd you play? Small forward? It's not the first conversation. Now, if you said, I went to Alabama, and you're a big guy, you might be like, did you play football? We got to be real with what it is. So in the SEC and the ACC in these schools, they're going to take a hit, but they're going to make it back where 78% of the money that is made in these leagues is not based on the stadium. Even that sounds crazy with $150, sometimes $1,000 tickets. Georgia versus Notre Dame last year, $1,000 average tickets, putting 100,000 plus at Sanford. The difference is what you have is you have a situation where most people get their money in the big markets from TV revenue and the endorsement and the split. So they're going to still get that money. And guess what? More people are going to be at sports bars and other places looking at Bud Light commercials. So those places might even spend more money knowing that these people are not at the games, but they're drinking the 12-pack at home with their parties within 10. Or if you're protesting Alabama-Auburn game, you get 100. Now, all of this, though, is something where you got to look at the costs, and that's why they did it. And I'm not saying this wasn't started because of COVID. It is. All of this has to do with it, or we would just be playing football. But the smaller leagues that aren't playing, JUCO Mississippi said, we're not worried. But the other leagues are doing this because they have the money to take a hit and be able to finish. And that's what we got to be real with. Donta Hightower, we know he didn't make this move because of money, because he's going to lose about $11 million off this endeavor. And most things are done by money. So we do know the athletes that are opting out, they're not doing it for monetary value, which is very rare to see somebody do something the reverse of making less money for their family. I don't know. I need to investigate. I'm going to do a full crackdown on Donta Hightower. If I Google and there's like 6 stories immediately, like he's had nightclub situations and all this other stuff like over and over repeatedly, I don't know. It could be great. I know he's a great football player. I watch him every Sunday. I actually have his jersey that was ordered, and something happened. It went to a different home, and I just said send it back. They gave me my money back. But he is a great football player, but that should not base if he's really doing it for the safety. I'm just making that clear too.
Yeah, but we also have to understand it doesn't matter what they're doing it for, what they say they're doing it for, whatever. Like,
they have the right.
They're the ones doing it. And I'm not saying this towards you. I'm saying this toward other people that want to criticize all these guys for sitting out. These guys have look. The league gave them the option, and for people that are like, well, the league, once they put this protocol like you were talking about, is it coincidence that some of these guys made decisions? Oh, I think these guys were waiting on this decision, though. If we want to criticize somebody, a lot of these guys would have already made this decision a month ago, but the NFL waited until the absolute last second, and the only reason the NFL went ahead and made that decision on these protocols was because they realized players weren't going to show up to camp. So obviously, if these players aren't going to show up at camp on time, who do you think is buzzing Roger Goodell? These owners. The owners are like, dude, we got to get this done. And something where even Coach K was like, there's no way they get this done in a weekend. And then sure enough, on Monday afternoon, they're like, hey, got to figure it out. We're all good. Let's do this. Let's roll. So, like, the NFL, if anybody wants to place blame, let's talk about the NFL. Now, they've done a good job getting these guys in the right positions. I think overall, college football has done the best. With the lack of resources and the lack of money that they have at hand. And let's not – look, I know Alabama's and teams like that and LSU's have money to a certain extent, but they don't have the money these NFL franchises do. And for what the college – for the majority, once again, you have to go hunting this out, but for the majority of these teams to have 0 positive tests or 1 or 2 at a time and then there's no more positive tests, like that's where the applause needs to be given. It's going to be tough when you're talking about logistics for college football, but for the NFL, if we want to place some blame, why did it take you so long to come up with these protocols? Like, this is something you knew was going to go on. And I understand there's no perfect answer, but you can still lay out something, okay, this is what we're going to start with, and understand this. If we have to change this and maneuver this around, we will, but this is what we're going to do right now. So when the NFL coming out, we're going to fine you or cut your contract, I think it's a good move by the NFL. I do. I want to make that clear. But why did it take you so long to come out and make this official? Why did this take you so long to become a rule? They should have said this a month and a half ago. Look, we're still working on protocols, but if you break protocols, if you go out on the town and things like that, we can cut you or we'll fine you. Like that's common sense to me. Like these high school coaches and athletic directors around here have been preaching to these guys like, hey, look, if you guys don't follow this, we can get contaminated, whatever it is. We all need to be a part of this. You need, like I said the other day, for baseball, for this to work, you're going to have to be the best teammate you've ever been. It has nothing to do with being on the field. It's everything about off the field. So if we're going to throw blame around, the people need to recognize the NFL as well. Why did it take you so long? But once again, Damian Williams is opting out, by the way. So LSU fans, hang on, because your boy Clyde Edwards-Helaire is about to
get that shot right there.
Join the Patrick Mahomes train.
De'Aaron King starting for the Canes. Is that a ho? Or
we'll see.
We'll see.
I mean, he's good.
Better path than Tate Martell. Not off the field. That was a good start for him at Miami. He was getting it rolling in South Beach, and then all of a sudden, he became the placeholder.
Can we blame this whole thing on Tate Martell then?
How could Tate Martell be any worse than what was on the field? They've had awful QB. De'Aaron King's a good athlete, but we'll see. They need somebody. The worst move ever, having Dan Enos coach a game after already firing him against Louisiana Tech, where they put up a goose egg against a 7th-ranked Conference USA defense, 14-0 shutout on national TV in the Independent Shreveport Bowl right there.
Well, De'Aaron King, we got to remember, too, a couple years ago with Houston, of all teams, was responsible for over 50 touchdowns. So he's a heck of a player. I mean, I like him a lot. I just don't have a lot of faith in the coaching staff in Miami.
That's what I'm saying. Their coaching staff has been deplorable offensively.
They have no excuse if it doesn't work with De'Aaron King.
Manny Diaz knew it so bad. I'm not saying Manny's done a great job, but Manny Diaz is a defensive-minded guy. And the second he took over the job, he was like, you're fired, you're cool, everybody go. He fired the entire offense coaching staff. And whoever he brought in, hogwash last year. So at this point, they got to figure something out. Because what you saw with Joe Brady, well, Coach O going out there, you got guys with Esminger and the good old boys. When it came down to that, you bring in Brady and that mindset and the culture, and they go from an 8-4 team with the same quarterback that threw 16 touchdown passes to 60 touchdown passes and the best season in college football history under a quarterback in Joe Burrow.
Joe guy?
Guy named Joe, Tiger King, yeah. Joe Exotic. When we come back, we're going to talk a little MMA fighting as well, as Greg LaFountain will join us. We'll get to more on what's going on with Tua. He has been cleared to practice. That's good news. Players like that, as the media would say, the walking wounded of the world, they're loving this time. They're getting all rested. They're not out there. They're not throwing the ball at parks in Tampa. Nobody should be doing that now that he's a Rebel. Looking at the situation. National Chicken Wing Day, by the way. Go support your local chicken wing places out there. Get some breaded, boneless. What are we doing here? You're buying, so I'm just trying to get this. Oh, no hose.
Oh, it's time to go. I got to leave.
Boneless
geez,
chicken wings right there.
Yeah. I'll
All
get
right.
boneless out of here.
Let's call Joey Bosa. He can afford a few.
Get boneless out of here.
National Chicken Wing Day, folks. It's a big moment in sports.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
200 South is home to World of Beer, Graffiti Pizza, Taco Agave, and Blend Lounge, and they invite you to a blood drive on Thursday, July 30th. Join the 200 South family to help give back to the community by stopping by the Big Red Bus parked on site from noon until 6 p.m. The need for donors is so great, and your donation can make a huge difference. 200 South will thank all donors with BOGO Graffiti Pizza Slices or BOGO Taco Agave Taco Cards. Check out all the details on the 200 South Facebook page.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Dan gets so mad that there isn't one dissenting voice.
It's not even that much of a risk, Mike. It's a 6.
Stugotz does that all the time. He doesn't get any credit for it.
No, but no one with credibility dares risk it because they all just want to put stars up next to their name and pick the most obvious possible thing.
Thanks, Dan.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, 9 till noon, weekdays on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I need a dollar, that's what I need. Hey, well I need a dollar, that's what I need. Hey, said I need a dollar, that's what I need. And if I share with you my story, would you share your dollar with me? Bad times are coming and I reap.
And welcome back, Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each every day on Blab TV. Chad Brillante with you on the other side. JP, we're good. You know, we have some of these moments. Very rare, but, you know, one of the things
once
is
again, we can argue and then we're okay.
We're fine right there. It's part of being. It's National Chicken Wing Day. Go out and have.
We'll just fight in the parking lot and
That's
be
right.
done. That's
you
fine.
buy me some boneless and make us happen. Yeah.
Don't call those wings.
Joining us now to talk, speaking of fighting, the guys that get paid to do it in the ring. Greg LaFountain joining us, Blab Sports, and our UFC expert on the show who joins us each every week to break down some of the big fights. Greg, how's it going?
It's going great. How's it going with you?
Man, we had a little heated debate on football a little while ago about players opting out. It might have been a Patriot player that plays linebacker that I wanted to play, but overall, it's that people have choices they can make in life. How's everything going right now in the UFC world?
Yeah, for the most part, everybody, Dana White's putting out enough cards that if you want to fight, he'll give you the opportunity to. So if you don't want to fight, if you want to sit out, whether it be for health reasons or, John Jones being one that wants to get paid more money, Dana's going to pay people that want to fight. And, so everything's going good as far as the MMA and the fight world. People, they're out there wanting to fight, and Dana's putting on the cards for them.
Well, looking right now at some of the fights that we've seen so far during the time since Fight Island and to date back when Dana White said we're going to fight and then there wasn't a fight and he was a little upset. However, he understands what's happening around us. What has been the best fight in your mind during the last 3 or 4 months?
I I think it was just before the pandemic, but Joanna Jędrzejczyk and the 115-pound women title fight was one of the best fights. It was just blow for blow, just standing up, rock'em sock'em robots. So those are always really exciting fights. Man, that was a good question. Yeah, that one's the one that sticks out in my mind because that's a fight of the year. That was just before the pandemic was really taking place, but that was definitely one of the better ones that I've seen this year. But as far as the pandemic, since Fight Island, I'll tell you that Whitaker fight and Till fight was really entertaining the other night. That one was a lot of fun. And then it just this domination. I mean, Joseph Benavidez got submitted last week, and it was one round of just him getting beat up. But I mean, it's just the fights really have been. Some of them have been really, really exciting. Most of them have been very, very exciting. And then you've got some fighters that without the fans, it just gets treated as a sparring match. And I think that it's just kind of them in the gym, and they don't really go after it as much. I think that there are certain fighters like Conor McGregor who did say, part of the reason why he quote-unquote retired was because he doesn't feel the excitement without the fans there. So we'll see what kind of, if we do get some fans back anytime soon, what kind of energy that does bring back to the fighters.
Greg, looking right now at moving your way up in different classes. We talked to Roy Jones Jr. this week, had a chance to interview him at his training facility, and clearly it's easier to gain weight, as most of us know during a quarantine, compared to lose weight. But when it comes to MMA fighting, how big is it? Do you feel boxing or UFC fighting, what is harder to move up a weight class and succeed in?
Oh, I think it's the UFC. The reason why is because they have fewer weight classes than boxing. That's one thing that Dana White criticized very early on, and that he doesn't want with the UFC is to have a new weight class every 7 pounds. He feels like it's too many champions. You don't get enough star power, and that's part of the reason why you have such a big gap from middleweight to light heavy. 185 pounds to 205. 20 pounds is a lot of weight, and then even heavyweight. Technically, you could weigh in at 206 pounds and fight somebody that's 265 pounds. I mean, he doesn't want to have a lot of those stuff. A lot of people have said, why don't we do a 165, get rid of the 170? Because it goes from, 125, 135, 145, 155, and then from 155 to 170, and then 170 to 185. As the weight goes up, there's larger gaps in between there. So I would have to say the UFC, just because like I said, 20 pounds in between middleweight and light heavyweight is a dramatic gap. And when fighters do try either killing themselves making that 185, or you've got someone like Chael Sonnen who did very well at 185 and then went up to 205 and said, oh, that's Sean Jones. Oh, he's a lot bigger than I am. And we saw how that ended.
Greg, when you look at it right now, it is something where most individual sports, when it comes to high school or college level, you have golf and you have tennis. We understand that UFC is a situation where it's not for the faint of heart. For people that want to get in there, they're tough and they know how to fight. Now, bare knuckle boxing, guys around here, Dylan Kleckler, who I've had a chance to talk to, a friend over there, he fought this week, and it was, you saw it was a different breed when it comes to bare knuckle, and it's getting a lot of fans across the world. However, do you ever see schools coming to a point where college or high school would implement UFC MMA fighting?
It'd be tough because just like with boxing, you have amateurs where they wear headgear. I think that'd be really tough at the amateur, trying to make that amateur, just because I think that with everything coming out with CTE and everything now, it seems like schools and high schools are trying to make football safer. They're trying to make boxing safer. I think that'd be too tough to make MMA safer. So, I mean, like, what are you going to do? Like, you can't kick someone in the head? Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. So it'd be interesting to see. I think that they might start more, like, putting maybe jiu-jitsu or kind of just one form of the martial art, kind of how they do with wrestling, amateur wrestling or high school wrestling now, where you could just, like, lure one aspect of it, do boxing, but to combine everything together, I've seen those overseas fights of kids doing MMA and watching 5-year-olds kick each other in the head. Even for someone that's a fight fan like myself, it's cringeworthy.
Speaking with Greg LaFountain, Blab Sports, and our UFC expert. So fights coming up here each and every week. We're getting closer to some major sports, but UFC's always going to have a crowd and a group of people that should be excited for watching the fights on Friday, Saturday, and all the big fights. What are some of the fights that we should look forward to coming up here?
Yeah, this weekend on UFC, they've got UFC Fight Night. You've got two of the top middleweights, ranked 8th and 9th, Darren Brunson and Edson Shabazian. Both of them just kind of like Brunson specifically has gotten close to, I don't want to say maybe a gatekeeper, but always floated around that 5 to 10 middleweight rank. So he's going to look to get a big jump up here. And then next weekend, you've got the big boys heavyweights fighting, Derek Lewis versus Olenek. Olenek is a Russian who does not have a problem getting taken down and can submit you off his back. But Derek Lewis, the Black Beast they call him out of Houston, a fan favorite, by the way, the best guy in MMA to follow on Instagram. And just loves to stand and trade. I got to see him fight when I went to UFC 246 with John Jones, when John Jones fought over there in Houston. Derek Lewis is on that card. Always just loves to stand and trade. And then in a couple weeks of mid-August, you've got the rubber match between Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. They're 1-1. Each one of them has knocked the other one out, and we're going to find out who the baddest man on the planet is for sure. And I would not be surprised to see, so win or lose, I think that those guys, that's their last fight for each one of them. I think that they're done after that. They've got nothing left to prove. They're both older, but a lot of exciting fights coming up in the UFC.
Greg, it's always great stuff. We're looking forward to talking to each and every week. We have obviously a large audience in this area when it comes to UFC, MMA fighting, Dean, and what they've done at Island Fights, and so many great fights across the board, and having a chance to be around that. A lot of great fighters like Brock Weaver, who had a chance to move up and fight on one of the cards in the prelim. So we're looking forward to talking to each and every week with the shows and talking some football when it gets here, because we're all waiting for that as well.
Let's hope. Yep.
Well, Greg, I appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it right there. Greg LaFountain, Blab Sports, and our UFC expert. As right now, not a perfect answer to everything, but sports that are individual, a lot easier to figure out than sports with a lot of people in it. That's sort of an obvious fact.
I have the answers.
You have the answers, yeah.
$30 a pop.
Still wait, that's a
$30 a pop.
I've got some answers to something else we talked about before the show that might be. You don't tell anybody about that. I got people on that. You just know what I'm saying. We might not be back next week, Wink.
Don't tease me. All right,
just
time
kidding.
for a
We would
break.
still be here.
No. Let's just leave it where it is.
If I'm in Cancun with a margarita right there, not a Corona these days.
Can we fly to Cancun?
I don't know any answers to anything. Here's the sad part. People that are like, have you checked whether or not we can fly around anywhere? I'm like, my lifestyle, I don't check whether I can fly to Cancun and other places even before 2020. Because you'd have to have.
Fair enough.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? But I'm not sure. I can't answer that. I think people can. No clue. Let's go to break.
I'll look it up.
All right, sounds good. Google fingers.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Welcome to Bold!
Okay, hi, what are we doing today?
I need something that screams something fun. Nothing too on the face, nothing too off the face, but also totally hot.
So I have the perfect thing. It's the most food mullet. You're totally business in the front, but tailgate in the back. It's a fat party. People are having fun. Snap. All your friends are going to be like, whoa, awesome setup. Everyone else is going to be all jelly, okay?
Just like a killer mullet, Moe's Catering will turn the back of your ride into a tailgate party that's sure to turn some heads. Just order ahead and pick it up on your way.
Moe's Southwest Grill, now open in Pace on Highway 90 next to Publix grocery store.
For your ridiculous facts, I'm JP. 1933 NFL franchise Cincinnati Reds survived for 2 years. The team fielded one of the worst offenses in pro football history, completing 25 passes all season without a single touchdown through the air. See, Jets fans, it could get worse. And the San Diego Chicken inexplicably was named one of the 20th century's most powerful people in sports. A chicken as a role model? I'm down with that. That's your ridiculous facts. I'm JP. JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. We love our hometown heroes like Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawk Doug Baldwin.
They fake, the lob, wide open, touchdown, Doug Baldwin.
Bigger body than Wilson likes to throw to. Big target. Here's Baldwin, smaller target, and he ducks in for the touchdown.
Hi, this is Doug Baldwin, and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
You can watch Chad on the Sports Drive live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
I cried as a little when I think of letting go. I cried just a little when I think of letting go. Know you wanna get behind the wheel, but only one rider. I just feel got me swimming like a diver. Can't let go, I got fans in Okinawa. My heart's in Japan, quake losers and survivors. Norway, no, you didn't get my flowers. No way to say.
Welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. Well, some of the announcements today, as we have gone through, the ACC will go with their regular schedule and then have a chance to play with Notre Dame as well. There you go.
Boo.
Fighting Irish. Not going to get all that money, but it's all right. They can afford it. They'll be okay getting to play football. Right now, the situation with Tua, he has been cleared to practice, so he'll be out there with the Miami Dolphins, playing with Ray Finkel, getting that chance, laces out. Could be pretty fun right now. I'm looking for.
I think you were going Ray Finkel.
Why not right there?
Don't know.
Not going Louis Einhorn on there, but hey, Snowflake and the. Do they still bring Snowflake out? I haven't been If somebody wins the award for changing up their environment more times in the last 20 years, because I actually used to go to the games out there when it was Joe Roby Stadium, and then you had it moved to Landshark with good old Jimmy Buffett. And then now it's Hard Rock, and they built, which is cool, with like the TVs and like the real chill area down there for the Super Bowl this year. That's where it was held, where Andy Reid finally got that double cheese. But that stadium and everything about it has changed so much. But I don't remember, they still have Snowflake out there?
I don't
know. Think he's been. I don't know if that's been approved. I think PETA probably jumped on that. But they used to have a dolphin jumping around. It wasn't just the movie. I remember that. Maybe
I feel like it's not out there.
I don't think so. I think we would have spotted a dolphin doing flips.
That
would have been on.
We went.
Some cameraman would have looked at that and saw that, I believe. What have we?
Over an hour and a half without talking about Joe Kelly.
Yeah, the 8 games, not 8 weeks. I want to make that clear. Somebody might have said that a long time ago.
He'd be done for the year.
I love what he did on that, but how many people?
I do too. But, I mean, I find it funny, but at the same time, here's the one thing
I didn't love him out of the. I don't like him because of his bullpen work for the Red Sox.
This is the guy, remember, that busted a window when all this stuff, with the COVID was going. Remember, he had the video
he's
where
got
he
an attitude.
Completely missed that giant target and busted his own window.
Yeah, he's got an attitude for sure. He looks like not actually Superman, but he looks like Clark Kent went on the Atkins diet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But he throws the ball 100. I mean, look, if you throw the ball 100 miles per hour, you got some bragging rights. Like, you got something in there. Not too many people. Look, Dr. Fauci didn't throw it 10 miles per hour. Sometimes you got a 50 Cent. I can't get that out of my head. Like,
who was worse?
Yo, Shorty, it's your birthday. All these songs right there, but all those moments with 50 Cent.
Normally, the camera crews would have been all zoomed in, and so Fauci would have thrown it at the cameras as well.
I'm completely giving Dr. Fauci, though, more credit than 50 Cent for the reasons of 50 Cent plays roles where he is like a bodybuilding kind of big guy in his 40s that should be looking athletic. Like, wasn't he an athlete at one point? I don't know based on that throw. But he looks,
He's been shot like 75 times.
Wouldn't you want, I joked with it. First off, I'm not condoning, I don't think that Dr. Fauci should have been on the field after he told everybody he couldn't. But that's beside the point.
And sitting in the stands
and then sitting. But I'm not getting down that path. Sports are back, so we're focusing on that. But one thing I'll say, though, wouldn't you want your scientists, like lead scientists, not to throw 93 painted on the outside corner, two-seamer?
Nobody would touch us.
If
as a
anybody, Well, if you had a guy, if he went out there, I want one guy to throw a knuckleball. Some lady.
What if
in charge of Fannie Mae? Here is Deborah, and she gets out there, throws a Tim Wakefield knuckleball. Everybody's like, what?
Just picture this: Fauci in front of all these senators, these governors. They're sitting in there, this big building, whatever. You got a governor from Utah sitting over here talking in the back, and Fauci balls up this paper.
That's my nickname when
and
I pitched, the governor.
Boom, right? I mean, just domes him. That's the guy I respect.
That's not. But
so just think about
I would
that
rather them know that they spent 40 years in the lab than.
Oh, he did. In both labs.
Yeah, a wicked slider out there.
He's got the lab going on in the weight room. Yeah, that lab, and then he's got the actual.
It takes a lifetime to try to master a slider. So you don't have the. I'm just saying.
Are you still trying to figure it out?
I'm still trying to figure. Beating some people. Mine looked like Joe Kelly's last night, not on purpose. Looking at the that situation though, do you think that's right? That's a real. But you know what though, he is right now. Just like what's happening with COVID-19, where this is the first NFL or college football season that they're trying to figure this out because there's no been like, well, back in 1993 with COVID. So they're all trying to do what's right. When I say that, they're not everybody's trying to do what's right. But we hope the people in charge, not Mark Emmert, he's proven wrong, are going to do the right things for us. However, this was a precedent, not as big as COVID-19, but this is something they're setting as an example of, hey, when we said you're not supposed to be in Houston after everything, we mean that, and you get 8 games. That, to me, is pretty big because at this point, you know for a fact that the next person in line, it's probably going to be a little bit easier, but they're trying to make it like, whoa. It's like the DUI laws and others. Like it's pretty harsh that you're going to lose your license for a year and you go to jail for a couple. But you know what? Back in the day, like somebody's like, back when I was there in like the 70s, like I was pulled over 4 times on the way home. Be like, well, sir, that sounds like a problem, a personal problem. Like you need to probably call somebody. The laws haven't changed that you can drive a truck into somebody, into a house. But the laws have changed for the best to keep people safe, but they're very harsh, and people know that. So they're trying to say don't get in the car drinking because of that. Same thing with this. They're saying we don't want you to go out there and get 8 games knowing that the next person that does it, you're not going to want to miss a huge paycheck like that.
Well,
because that is way too harsh. 8 games is way too much, but they know that too. Major League
Baseball
knows that too.
He also has a checkered past, and they acknowledge that his checkered past that he's had before. I think the biggest thing is I said this, and I'm going to toot my own horn on this because I said whenever something like this happened that they were going to make an example. And yeah, it's a little harsh. I mean, if this was a regular season, probably would have got 2 games. You know what? Maybe not even miss a start. Like I don't know. Maybe he would miss a start. I really don't think he would miss a start in this. I think that they would sit them down and be like, hey, look. All right, let's knock this stuff off. All right, obviously we all want to be in the Astros. All right, shut up, Astros. I'm talking right now. But no, I think they made a point, and I said they were going to make a point. Look, the bench is cleared. That's the last thing they want right now. That is prohibited. The bench is clearing, and they got that. So
all the antics went into play. If he would have just thrown that and gotten the mound, or give a my bad when you clearly were trying to go for him.
Well, you saw Bregman's reaction. Bregman knows this stuff might happen this year. His reaction on 3-0, the ball's thrown behind him like that. He's just like, he wants to react, but he knows. Yeah. Like, you know what, at the same time, I get it.
They know it.
Like,
they know it.
Everybody knows it, but it's the thing, the jawing back and forth as well, the bench is clearing, whatever. It was a nasty pitch. Correa got out. I'm not a Correa fan, but I'm also not a Joe Kelly fan either. But regardless, I think this is just MLB saying, hey, heads up. Anybody else want to join? Because we can't play around because that is such a bad look for baseball right now. If those benches clear, if punches are thrown, guys aren't wearing masks, even if the guys are wearing masks, regardless of whatever, like in baseball, the one thing that was said is, hey, we can social distance, to a pretty good extent. And here we are like fisticuffs, everybody just sitting here 30 guys on each side fighting. It would be a terrible, terrible look, especially after the Marlins. So hats off to the MLB. Once again, I think it's a little harsh, but during these times, I don't think it's harsh.
When the manager for Pittsburgh, Shelton, was out there talking with the mask, and that's the new way to do it, to get thrown out, to get tossed and have that. Imagine, though, they all just go to a bloody brawl, but all of them mask up. Oh, there, looks like an eye's gone. Oh, we just broke that guy's leg. Suplex. Look at everybody at the end. They go, well, at least they were all wearing masks. The guys, can't see. But you know what? That got over the top because also Joe Kelly made a complete mockery afterwards.
He did.
With his face. I mean, everything
Those
he
are gonna
did.
Be memes for a while.
He went full out. Yeah. He went full out. Like if you push somebody,
a little kid.
If you're at a sports bar or something and you do one shove, it depends security or who you know at the bar not to get kicked out. But if you like hit somebody and then you start doing a dance over them and pour a drink in their face and then push somebody else out of the way and smash a beer bottle, now all of that antics, you've done the same exact thing. You both pushed. But all of that other buffoonery is going to get you kicked out and probably never come back there. That's what he did. He took what was one thing that somebody else could have done and he added so much more to it. So much more. And, he probably deserves that over it.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa, how about that? 5-year, 135. Who would you rather take, him or Nick? See, here's the thing. He's the richest defensive player now in NFL history, just passed with the Aaron Donald situation. And he just got, how about this? He is even the best in his family in the NFL. How about to be the highest paid? Well, Eli, is sort of like that. He got paid at one point more than his brother, and clearly. But
by the way, he's, I think, $6 million off from being the highest paid overall defensive player total contract. Can you name the highest paid player? Total contract?
Well, Patrick Mahomes now, right? Are you talking about before?
Defensive.
Oh, defensively. The highest paid defensive contract overall.
Yeah, total contract. He's $6 million off from this contract.
Is it Josh Norman?
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack, I was going to say.
Million. Yeah.
I know Josh Norman's getting paid a ton.
Well, he's getting paid way too much.
He's just hanging out.
The fact that he's there is just way too much.
Fat Albert Hainsworth's getting paid. Hey, he's getting paid a ton still.
You got to feed him.
Yeah.
So.
He got paid. Daniel Snyder, that was
chicken wings.
Yeah, National Chicken Wing Day. Ho, 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 ho. How many, if you had to right now, we're both,
oh man,
we're getting down that family path. Back in the day, I could hit some. You've seen me eat. I'm not a big guy, but I can especially get a couple of those drinks, those cocktails that once in a while I'm like, you going to drink this one? I'm saying, get that in me, get the Frank the Tank going. I bet I could do right now, if I hadn't eaten for the day, on a day I was hungry for football, I can do 35 wings.
Is that with beer? With beer, I fill up a lot faster with beer.
We also get nacho platters, and if Jeffrey D's buying, we get like 15 different courses.
We get all kinds of stuff.
But just straight up, if I'm going chicken wings, better be a special going on, too, if I'm going to have 35. Also, price plays back in the day, like 25-cent wings at Gators Dockside, back in college at Alafaya, like over at Waterfront. That was the place where we would – that's a little bit different. But if it's not 25-cent wings, some places you eat 35 wings, you're forking up like a week of food right there. So I got to be careful with that as well.
That's
but
$3
for National Chicken Wing Day, I think – I'm not going to Dan Mullen it. He had like 50 at Mississippi State. I think I could do 35.
If I'm drinking water, I've done this before. That's the reason I say this. With beer, it cuts me down to about 20 because I'm just constantly drinking beer, whatever.
And you're
going
boneless,
up a lot
right?
faster.
Boneless
Yeah.
on that.
No, I'm not going boneless. Absolutely not. Don't give me no. Look, I understand.
You should be able to do 50 boneless if you say 35 regular.
Look, with my fiance, we had this conversation the other day. She loves boneless. And I'm like, that's not a wing, though. And she goes, oh, it's funny. It's called a boneless wing. And I'm like, okay, where's the wing in it?
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing but a glorified, expanded chicken nugget that's been a little more steroids injected in it. But I get some people, that's what they don't want to deal with bones. So
It's like saying a Choco Taco is Taco
but
Tuesday.
It's not a wing.
Can you eat a Choco Taco and call it Taco Tuesday?
No.
Exactly.
No. They are good, though. Choco Tacos are really good.
Oh, yeah.
God, they're really good. Probably, I would say if I'm drinking beer, probably 20. Because I'll be drinking a lot of beer. I will say that.
I'm a little disappointed.
But at the same time, though, like what wings? Because there's a difference. Because you get those big fat wings, and then you get some places that have these little tiny wings, which the bones are poking through. Get those out of here.
This is not saying much about my health, but I did a 20-piece nugget from McDonald's in the car on the way home. And I only live like 4 minutes from that
Well,
McDonald's.
give me the spicy nuggets,
so
man. I'll roll through spicy nuggets. Woo. But I'm saying, like, if it's the big wings, you go to some of these restaurants.
Yeah,
like,
well,
we used to have Dick's Wings over here off of 9th Avenue.
Yeah.
They had some giant wings.
Say that 10 times fast.
I'm not going to. I really want to. Sirius XM, and I will.
Yeah.
Dick's Wings used to have.
Those are some good Dick's Wings.
They were.
Yeah.
Boys, Dick's Wings were really good.
Yeah, they were. On top of it right there, yeah.
And they were big.
Well, and you got home afterwards, the late-night Dick's Wings, having a chance to come home and eat those on the couch. Oh, amazing.
And their flavor.
They were a sponsor. I used to do their commercials. And I read them appropriately.
I'm sure you did. But they used to have wing specials, like 50-cent wings, but their wings were huge. So it's a shame that their place went out of business. But
George's is doing okay, though. That place is crushing every night.
Yes, that's packed.
That's every single night. That place. They have good food. I've been there.
Yeah, that's.
Look what you've done, National Chicken Wing Day. We're going to just start breaking down what we're eating.
That's what Barstool does. They break down chicken
Went down
wing
to the
places.
Garden today. They have some nice places. Eduardo, our great sponsor out there at Mr. Pollo. He's got a nice truck out there. Awesome. Yeah.
That's some big chicken wings they got.
Oh, their place is great. Yelp. Nobody gives good reviews on Yelp. They're number 61 in the country.
Wait,
This is one of the
did
best
you eat
places
their
in
food
the world.
truck down there?
Yeah, we did.
Was it El Fresco?
Yeah,
Al Fresco.
The Arepa cheeseburger. Now that is a food that is made a southern food down there. It was really good. Yeah.
I saw the article that had them in it, and the stuff looks really good. I believe anything that they cook.
Oh,
is
amazing!
awesome.
Everything they do, the whole crew, they're amazing family. Yeah, I took a photo of it. Look at that.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Oh,
Let's zoom in on that. See if nobody can see. Oh, that does nothing for TV.
You gotta put it on that one there.
Here, hand that.
There
Put
you
that
go.
back there.
People need to see this.
Some,
this is.
Can you get that? Sort of. That doesn't do any. That looks like actually fireworks.
Get it closer. Get it. It looks like slop on that picture.
that
but
looks like
That's
some good stuff right there. Someone on radio is like, what kind of shows? The Boca Latin Kitchen down there. They do an awesome job. Looking at some of the other
sports.
Well, I know that. That's
Yeah,
what we're doing.
we had talked about
Look
wings.
what you did with
I
Joe
want to
Kelly.
talk about
you
wings.
threw out
though.
the whole track of this show with Joe.
We
Kelly
almost
right
went
now.
all show without basically talking about baseball.
I know. Well, speaking of baseball, you ready for as we do? I got to stay on par with this. Quick hitters. Atlanta Braves struck out 64 times in 5 games to start the season. That's as many times as Tony Gwynn struck out over 5 years.
And the phones are going to go off. Wait, they struck
Uh,
out people, or they struck out?
No, they struck out
They
as many
struck out.
times.
Okay, so the phones are going to light up.
The Atlanta Braves struck out as many times in 5 games as Tony Gwynn did over 5 seasons. Okay, Miguel Rojas, 7 for 10, leading Major League Baseball, and he's going to keep that because the Marlins are staying at home. Good old Miggy. Played for the Blue Wahoos. Did you know that?
Yep.
Look at that. Leads the league right now, and it's not going to change till Sunday. 7 for 10, leading the way right there.
With the
do they count for a minimum at bats since they're not playing? Is that fair to do to them? You know how if you have a minimum standard at bats? Because at this point, having 10 at bats after they've already, they're 3 games behind? That's not a lot of at bats.
No, it's not.
But you can't really punish Miggy, right? He was off to a great start. 7 for 10 is awesome.
Was he one of the ones that tested positive? That's the difference.
Whoa, you're turning the course.
Then
this story is good for you because you didn't start him. Nelson Cruz, he leads the league right now, 3 home runs and 10 runs batted in. Known for his terrible play in right field for that World Series. He'll always be known for.
Yes.
Cardinals fans are like, whoop, whoop. But Texas fans have more guns, though. And they're like, you know what? Don't ever do that again on this show.
Ever.
The situation with Nelson Cruz, though, is 40 years old and still crushing it right now. How about that? They might win it. Honestly, they could win it all. I've watched their team enough. Their team isn't just good at slugging. Every one of their players is a behemoth when it comes to slugging. Now adding Luis Reyes and Josh Donaldson and Max Kepler already and Eddie Rosario and Jorge Polanco, all these guys are finding their form. We knew they had all those guys. Buxton's the only one that hasn't found his form yet, but he's still solid. But even their guys like Mitch Garver, who was down here last year at the Wahoos, can hit 30 home runs at catcher. They've got a whole lineup like that. Jake Cave, the whole team is like that.
Yeah, Jake Cave is the guy that I watched the other night that I was like, oh.
That's what he's like their 9 guy.
He's got like 6 RBIs or something already.
He's like their 9 guy, and he can be a 4 guy in a lot of teams. Also, as we continue through, in our baseball quick hitters, if the season ended today, Tampa and San Diego would be playing in the World Series. How about that?
Nope, not giving you that.
Parody's great until it's not. You know, everyone's like, baseball gives everybody a chance.
Will figure itself
but baseball, after everything, does not want to see Tampa.
The Reds and the Red Sox will be drafting 1-2 in the draft.
We're going up against Jacob deGrom too tonight. 40-year-old right there, the machine. 657th home run. How about that? Tied the guy you might have heard of him, Willie Mays, 5th all time.
Who's that? Just kidding.
Did you see the pitch he took it?
Yes.
Nestor Cortez trying that whole
get that out of here.
Waiting.
Get
Pujols wanted to bat flip that so bad.
Oh,
I would have thrown that thing 50 feet in the air. First off, it would have been a pop up to shortstop if I made contact.
I'd have handed him my bat. I would have done it.
Wouldn't it be funny if you knew you were going to be done and you bat flipped like a pop up to shortstop, just to have people boo you at home? Let's do it. I see A-Rod doing that.
Get him out of here too.
Yeah.
And Jessica Mendoza. They can both go.
Somebody said wish him a happy birthday online. It was his birthday the other day. You have J-Lo out there blowing the candles. And blowing out the candles. What did I say? Sorry. Blowing out the candles.
Oh, boy. We're time for a break.
Happy birthday, A-Rod. I'll say it now. Deflect. That's what we do. Patriot way.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. But I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me.
Welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Let's give it up for Lou Williams, 3 days ahead of National Chicken Wing Day out at Magic City.
Get him out of here.
It is National Chicken Wing Day right there. Marlins, good job. Thumbs up, hey, for the folks out there, how they handled the Miami situation. How are they going to make up all these games? Do you know, are they going to doubleheader?
They're talking right now. They're talking about the possibility of seven inning doubleheaders. They're just talking about it. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. But with that being said, for them making up games, it's not fair to other people as well. So think about it. If you had to play 9 or 7, you could save a lot of pitching by playing a couple 7-inning games. But we'll see what happens.
Mike Moustakas crushed that ball, by the way.
Wow. He's back now. Him and Senzel are back after their sickness.
Yeah. One thing most people
we need him.
We
time.
want sports, but not everybody knows what's happening with these teams. Reds made a bunch of moves.
Well, with Moustakas now, he solidifies that lineup because Castellanos is not good by himself. He is a strikeout king. Watching Aristides Aquino yesterday, those guys need Moustakas. I mean, you got Votto and Moustakas in the middle of that lineup. I mean, I'm not saying that we'll do anything. I'm just saying it's a whole heck of a lot better.
Stop. That stop was, if I get a quote on UCF, you get a quote on the Reds this year. Okay?
Oh, I'm catching up. I will catch up.
Looking right now, that's all the time we have for today's show.
Perfect time.
Perfect time.
We gave people the Reds update they needed.
That's right. We have a lot of Reds fans. The first time I saw like 4 Reds hats walking into an area, I was like, what's happening then? Blue Wahoos. Are you still a Red or a Twin at heart? How I answer that? None. I like the Wahoos. But go Red Sox. We need it this year. That's all the time we have for today's show. Ho, ho, ho. Thanks again to Will Kennedy, for Greg LaFountain, for JP. I'm Chad Brillante. We'll see you again right here on Throwback Thursday.